What's crackalackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So we're back again for another season preview. We're going over the Las Vegas Raiders. That's right, first year in the Big Easy, and oh no, that's New Orleans. Huh. Las Vegas have a fancy name? I don't know. All right, 3, 2, 1. What's crackalackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So back again for another season preview, and this time we're going over the Las Vegas Raiders. That's right, the Raiders, they made the move to Sin City itself, and we're going to take a look at their roster. We're going to project the starters. We're going to go over their schedule, and then I'm going to make a prediction on how I think they're going to do this season. Granted, this is all my opinion, so feel free to let your opinion be heard in the comment section below. Let's get some good civil discourse. I don't know everything, so enlighten me. But yeah, a lot of stuff going on the channel. We're going to be doing all these season previews. There will be other videos sprinkled throughout, so you're getting at least one video a day. And on top of that, at the end of this series, we're going to be doing a mock draft with my predicted stand-ins. And go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the video. Go ahead and share the video. And if you do that, I appreciate it. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. Let's get this channel to 100 million subscribers. That's right, I got big goals. But let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the roster for the Raiders. I don't do a good Chris Berman, so excuse me. First things first. Derek Carr, he's got some competition there. It's more of a fail-safe there, and of course I'm talking about Nathan Peterman. Marcus Mariota. And there's certain setups in Mariota's deal if he can eventually replace Carr and play particularly well. So maybe a little bit of that Ryan Tannehill hype. I don't think so. I think Derek Carr might end up remaining. That's not true. I don't know. I feel indifferent because Derek Carr, the boy, he's so successful when he throws downfield. The thing is, he doesn't throw downfield. Like, he instantly goes to his checkdowns, and Marcus Mariota is a bit of the same thing. He's constantly going to his checkdowns. Despite his athletic ability, he's actually not good outside of the pocket, at least when throwing the ball. So I'm a bit indifferent about the quarterback position, but the Raiders, they brought in some playmakers. Henry Ruggs, they brought in some speed because Derek Carr loves throwing downfield so much. They brought in some speed with Henry Ruggs, but don't be mixed up. Don't be confused. This guy's a very good route runner. He's not just a vertical threat, kind of like Tyrell Williams is. So you got players that can stretch the field. Byron Edwards is there, kind of more of a possession guy, as is Zay Jones, but I don't expect Zay Jones to see much of the field. Hunter Renfrow is probably going to be the slot, but Nelson Aguilar is a guy that he does have that slot ability. He actually projects better in the slot. He just doesn't have great ball skills. But they made a very good effort of trying to add more playmakers. Shoot, they brought in Jason Witten. Do I think he's going to start? No, I think he might even be the tight end 3 here because Foster Moreau was really good in the red zone. But Darren Waller, great playmaker at tight end, a little late bloomer, but better late than never. As for the offensive line, and I like what they did here with picking up James Simpson because I think this may be Gabe Jackson's last season there. He's kind of on the downslope in his career. He was still a very good pass protector, but this team was not a very good run blocking team last year. Outside of probably Richie Incognito, even Ronnie Hudson, he's one of the best pass protect centers in the league, one of the best centers in the league. He's a mediocre run blocker. So I think Gabe Jackson might be on his way out, but man, last dance, saw what it did for the Bulls, so maybe puts out a banger of a year. Trent Brown was particularly good. Colton Miller, I do want to see some type of step forward, some type of progression. Last year he was average, but I mean average goes a long way at the tackle position in today's NFL. It's hard to find good offensive linemen. So you got one of the better offensive lines in all of football. They added some playmakers. Yeah, Derek Carr, you really have no excuse. You really don't. On top of that, Josh Jacobs, who's very, very good. I love the addition of Lynn Bowden, the guy, and then they're going to play him at running back. And I remember when I was doing, I think it was a 3-round mock draft, and it was in the 3rd round, I was making a pick for the Chiefs, and I went with Lynn Bowden because I was like, the boy is a monster with the ball in his hands. You saw what he did at quarterback for the Wildcats. Put this guy at running back. He's got good ball skills for a receiver. He's a bit raw as a route runner, but you put him at receiver, that matters a lot less. So it's going to be very interesting how what they can do with Bowden and with Josh Jacobs, who in his own right, he lined up in the slot there in Alabama. The Raiders, they didn't use him as a receiving back last year like they should have. So I don't know, man. This is really is this the swan song for Derek Carr? Because it might be because the AFC West, it's pretty tough. The Broncos got significantly better. The Chargers, they still have a wealth of depth, especially on the defense. They have a lot of talent on that team. Tyrod Taylor, there we go. He's no slouch. He's led teams to the playoffs. Just ask the Bills Mafia. So it's going to be a tough division. Will he be able to stay the quarterback there? And in my opinion, I don't think it's an upgrade if they switch to Marcus Mariota. On to the defensive line. Very deep. Still waiting for a star. Max Crosby might be a star. We already know Maurice Hurst. That dude is a star. That guy was a steal in the 5th round. Brought in Malik Collins. They got a lot of depth on that interior. PJ Hall's very good. Zero Tech. Jonathan Hankins. There we go. Or Hackins. I don't know why. Can't say it. But he's been a very underrated vet at this point. It feels like he's been in the league forever. He really hasn't. But he's pretty solid in his own right. At the edge, like I said, Max Crosby looks like he has the makings of a star. Cleveland Farrell, we're still figuring it out. Honestly, I think he does better when he kicks inside on passing downs. They brought in Carl Nazib. They gave him a lot of money. I like the addition. I don't like how much they paid him, but keep in mind, Adrian Key is still there as well. He's kind of got some pass rush potential. So the defensive line, I think, looks very good. The linebacker core, very improved from last season. Bringing Corey Littleton, Nick Kowalski, I thought were very good picks. Drafting Tanner Muse, a very, very quick heat-seeking missile. Played safety there for the Tigers. Now here he is, gonna put him at linebacker. So I'm interested to see if he really sees the field, but I really like the front seven. It's the secondary where things start getting a little shaky, a little wobbly. I like that they brought in Prince. Oh man, I don't want to butcher his last name, so I won't. But they brought in the boy Prince, the Prince from Nebraska. He's a solid number 2, but I think for all intents and purposes, they're going to give Damon Arnett every chance to be the starter here. I think Prince is more of a depth move than anything. I think he's more of okay, we need a couple of weeks before Arnett can play. Yeah, I just see him as a depth move. Trayvon Mullen, he was okay. He had his ups and downs, but he's definitely trending in the right direction in terms of was this guy worth a second rounder? I think he was. He looked a lot more comfortable last season. But keep in mind, he had to match up against the number 1s. I don't know if that's his forte. Damon Arnett might stand a better chance at that. But then the nickel gets dicey. Joyner, he had a really bad year last season. So I don't know if you want to keep him at safety because they brought in Amik Robertson, who he's for all intents and purposes a slot-only corner, but he's very physical. He's a ball hawk. This guy, he created so many turnovers over the course of his career for Louisiana Tech. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. I think they're probably just going to stick him in the slot again because they brought in some depth there at safety, and I assume that Jonathan Abram and Demarius Randall will be the starters there. So, yeah. I mean, Randall, that's a very good pickup. He's a very, I don't want to say underrated, but underappreciated safety. Jeff Heath, he's depth. Eric Harris, he had one game where he was phenomenal. But the secondary, I still think, has a lot to figure out. So let's go ahead. Let's take a quick glance at their their schedule. Because, oh boy, it's a toughie. This is why I think things get a little dicey. So they have to face off with not only the toughness of the AFC West, but they have to play the NFC South. Falcons are good. Saints are good. Buccaneers are good. Carolina, I think they're actually a little closer to Las Vegas, but I think that's going to be pretty tough. On top of that, though, they have to face off with the face off. This is where I think they may get a chunk of wins, but the AFC East. The Dolphins, unfortunately, they have to face the Dolphins late in the season, where Tua may be the starter. And if Tua is the star that everyone thinks he's going to be, that's no guaranteed win. You got to face the Jets. If Sam Darnold ever stops seeing ghosts, that team might be pretty good. No, might be above, it might be average. So might be on the same level of the Raiders there. But facing Buffalo, facing New England, they're an enigma. We don't know what to expect from them. Is Stidham Brady V2? I doubt it, but that's probably a win. But then sprinkling in games against, they got the Colts. That's not an easy one. And then the Browns, which they're looking for a big rebound year. It's a pretty tough schedule. They got an early bye, which might be needed because I think in the first 5 weeks, at best, they're 3-2. I don't think they could beat New Orleans. I don't think they could beat Kansas City. Buffalo, that's a maybe. It really all hinges on Josh Allen. And if you don't know, just go check out my Buffalo season review, and you'll see how I feel about Josh Allen. But Carolina, New England, those are winnable games. So best case scenario, I think they start out 3-2. Worst case, maybe 2-3. If Carolina's a lot better than we expect, 1-4. So that bye might be necessary, but it's not like they go into the bye and then they just get Buccaneers, Browns, Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, Falcons. Oh, thank goodness, the Jets. Chance to breathe. It's not going to be an easy road. Derek Carr really needs to step his game up. And let's just go ahead. Let's take a gander at who I think is going to be the starters this year. We're going to start with Derek Carr. Yes, it's his job to lose. For all intents and purposes, Josh Jacobs is your running back. Henry Ruggs will be the number one. That's why they drafted him above CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy. He's the number one. Terrell Williams will be the number two. Hunter Renfrow will remain there in the slot with Darren Waller at tight end. And then you're bringing back the same offensive line from the season before in Miller, Incognito, Hudson, Jackson, and Brown. On to the defense. Max Crosby and Clelin Ferrell. I have them pegged as edge starters. They're probably going to see a majority of the snaps there. Hurst. Collins, I think it's going to be a lot closer in terms of, it's going to be a lot of rotation there, in my opinion, at defensive interior outside of Hurst. I think Hurst is guaranteed. He's a 3-down player. But I think there's going to be a lot of rotation going on there. At linebacker, Littleton, Kowalski, no surprise there. Littleton, one of the best coverage linebackers in the league, so good on you, Raiders. And then I'm going with Arnett as a starter next to Mullins over Prince. I think Prince is brought there just to potentially be the starter at the beginning of the year if they don't think Arnett is where he should be, and he's only there for depth. And then I put Joyner there at the slot with Randall and Abram at safety. So let me go ahead. Let me dish out some truth. Let me tell you how I think the Raiders will do this year. 5-11. It's a very tough schedule. I don't want to. I really liked a lot what the Raiders have done. It's just, it's a very tough schedule. It's a very tough schedule. I mean, I think they're ceiling. Let's give them Carolina. Let's give them New England, Buffalo. Let's give them one over the Chargers because division teams typically play well against one another. Typically, I'll be favorable. I'll give them the Browns. I'll give them the Jets. Let's give them the Dolphins. At best, 7 wins. I think. You know what? Ceiling on this team 8-8, which they're still, I think, at that point not in the playoff conversation or at least contention, and you just hurt yourself out of a high round draft pick to draft a quarterback. Luckily, it looks like it might be a pretty good quarterback class. So 5-11, I think, works out better because the Raiders now they get to draft a lot earlier and maybe take their quarterback of the future. Because I just don't think Carr's it, and I don't think Mariota is it. I think Mariota is a very good backup. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. And go ahead, do the... Oh, man. Deja vu, right? But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.